What's up, guys? I want to talk about Amsterdam, the David O. Russell film that recently came out starring Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, and John David Washington. It is set in the 1930s, like in between the First World War and the Second World War. And the way that like the trailers portrayed it to be, it came across like it was going to be maybe a whodunit, but it's not necessarily a whodunit. It feels like a unreliable narrator, because it feels like most of what we're getting through is a level of narration from Christian Bale's character, who honestly feels a little lost in the head. Just a little bit. But it, has a level of like veteran, like pride and whatnot, but it does connect with a historical event that I can't say that I ever learned about in history class. But there was supposedly, because I can't say honestly for a fact, even after like what little research I've done, I can't say like with strong conviction that this is what happened. But supposedly there was a plot to overthrow the presidency when FDR was president. And this General Smedley Butler was the one to kind of whistle blow on that. And the character that is based on that specific, like, real life person, he was an actual person, like one of the most decorated Marines in history, was played by Robert De Niro. And so, like, the way that everything kind of weaves together is interesting, but doesn't necessarily feel fully coherent. So you have to have a level of paying attention in order to watch it. But that is where we'll stop. I don't think I've spoiled anything, but if I have, I'm sorry if there were any like mild spoilers. Cool? Cool. So from this point on, full spoilers. We're not even worrying about filtering anything. Taylor Swift makes a cameo in this, and I mean, she was not a bad actress. Was fine, because it wasn't, she was pivotal but not pivotal at the same time. And again, that plays more into the unreliable narration. The way that our three main characters get pulled together is they all met during World War I when Christian Bale's character was set to be in charge of John David Washington's unit. Even though he was a medical person, I didn't fully follow how all of that worked. Again, I think that plays into the unreliable narration. I feel like I'm a broken record at this point, and I apologize. When they were getting treated for like some of the wounds that they got from war, that's where Margot Robbie's character comes in, as she was a nurse during the war. And she pretended to be French, but she really wasn't French, and it was interesting. After they were done with the war, they all went to Amsterdam, which is the only connection that I can find to the title, is that they spent a period of time in the city of Amsterdam. You would have thought that it maybe had taken place in Amsterdam. No, they spent a very small portion, and it was, a very minimal amount of the film in Amsterdam. But I guess you could say that like, because of that connection and that bonding experience, when they meet up several years later because of this plot, that's all connected to Taylor Swift getting run over by a vehicle, because she gets pushed into the street by somebody else, but Christian Bale and John David Washington's characters are blamed for it, even though they were just talking to her. They did not touch her. That is what ends up bringing them back to crossing paths with Margot Robbie's character. And it's their connection of Amsterdam that's like what brings them together. It's about the extent of having connection to the title. This is one of your like, feels a little Oscar bait-ish, but not so Oscar bait-ish that it's not enjoyable. There's a level of fun to the film, but it's not like it feels almost as out there as The Favorite, which I only got halfway through. I literally like left the theater halfway through watching that one because that was so out there. But because of the level of mystery and a little bit of the fun and like connection of like, okay, it's not necessarily a whodunit, which is kind of what was the impression that I got from the trailers. It was, you know, we're gonna squash some Nazis in the sense, because the group that was behind in the film, I cannot say if this was actually like connected to real thing or if it was just like based on some things, was called, I think, Community of the Five. It was something of the Five. The way that the logo for this little group was, it looked like a swastika, but it was made out of the number 5. Like it was like 4 5s that were connected. At the same time, it felt a little silly. And so, you know, like there are moments that are funny, and that's kind of honestly what kept me engaged, is the little bit of moments of like, oh, this isn't trying to be serious. Great. Cool. We're not meant to take this fully seriously. It's fine. But yeah, if that sounds, hopefully I explain it in a way that maybe it sounds like something you might want to go see. Totally understand if you don't. Or it may just be something that you wait until it hits like a streaming service, and then you can choose to watch it at your leisure, and then you can stop it if you don't enjoy it and move on with your life instead of paying money to go see it in the theaters. All valid options. Love that we live in a world where we have these wonderful options. But yeah, that's it for me. There is not going to be a blog post about this because I don't have anything else to say about it. But yeah, that's it for me. I will see you next video. Bye. Don't